Hi, everybody. I'm Jacqueline Cozen, Executive Director of the Connecticut Democratic Party. Thank you for joining us for our first virtual state convention happening today. We're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance with a wonderful family, Liza and Arunan Arumbalam, with their children, Sahana and Theron, who are both 6, and Nivi and Diane, who are both 4. Take it away.
Room here in Hartford. It's great to be with you on behalf of the whole family. We wish you our love and we hope you stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you on the other end of this. For now, please put your hands over your hearts and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bye. Thank you.
You guys are awesome. And so now we have a video clip that we would like to play for you just to open up today's proceedings.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat. I believe in a world founded on freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat. I stand on the front lines to fight injustice and demand change.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat. I dare to dream of exploring new worlds, climbing new mountaintops, and shattering every ceiling, not because it's easy, but because it is hard.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat. I believe women's rights are human rights, and women's issues are economic issues.
Love is love, and hate has no home in Connecticut.
I believe science is real, and we need to address climate change before it's too late.
We are Connecticut Democrats.
We were at the forefront of the fight to pass marriage equality.
And led the charge to ban conversion therapy. We are Connecticut Democrats.
We are the steady hand defending our democracy and guiding America towards a brighter future for all.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat.
We are Connecticut Democrats.
Be a Connecticut Democrat. And I'm even prouder to be able to introduce our state party chair, Nancy Wyman. Nancy?
I am Nancy Wyman, and I declare that this Connecticut State Democratic Convention is open, and I'm going to do it one way. Thank you for joining us today and for the 2020 Democratic State Convention, the first ever to be conducted virtually online. We are living in an unprecedented time, and we are facing the challenge of ensuring our democracy, our democratic process goes forward, and every vote is properly counted while protecting the health and safety of every voter. In March, the chairman of the Republican Party and I worked with each other on an agreement to allow for virtual voting, something that had never been done before.
So I texted Eric, come and use my computer.
But these are very different times, and as we all know, Connecticut Democrats hold a state convention every 2 years to nominate statewide candidates and state party leaders. Today, using a virtual format, we will elect members of the State Central Committee, Presidential Electors, and the state's 2 members of the Democratic National Committee. Voting took place, as all of you know, between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. this morning. We are now in the process of tabulating it, and we will announce the results shortly. We will also hear from some of our top leaders. But right now, I'd like to introduce a man that's really been helping us a lot, our legal counsel, Kevin Reynolds, to talk to you about our state party rules. Hi, Kevin. Well, I think we'll be joining with Kevin. We're all learning about new ways of doing things, and this is one of the things that is brand new for all of us. So just give us a moment.
Thank you, Nancy, very much. Good afternoon to all the delegates. Due to the pandemic, the Connecticut Democratic Party has been operating by emergency order of our chairwoman, Nancy Wyman. Our rules do not contemplate holding conventions and town committee meetings virtually. The inability to meet in person disrupts many facets of our party's structure and process. Our objective when operating by emergency order has been to adhere to the policies on which our state party rules rest, and in a manner that is consistent with the principles and customs of the Connecticut Democratic Party. I would like to thank Chairwoman Wyman and Vice Chair Russell for their leadership during this time, and I also would like to express my deep gratitude to Jacqueline Kozin and her staff for their extraordinary work under these extraordinary times. It is our hope that the process that we are following today is fair and will lead to the desired outcome of the Connecticut Democratic Party. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. We really do appreciate all the work that you've done for us at this time. And now to the business of our state convention. We're going to first hear from 2 of our top elected officials. Governor Lamont has been a voice of reason during these very difficult times. When we've needed a leader we could trust, he was that leader, a leader with a plan. Thank you, Governor, for making the time to join us today, and thank you so much for your leadership. Let me introduce our great Governor, Ned Lamont.
Hey, thank you, Nancy, Jacqueline, Kevin, all of you. I don't know, I thought the Zoom convention was gonna be a little weird, but so far I really like it. And, Liza and Aruna, you're amazing family. It's good to see you guys. And I've never been so proud to be a Connecticut Democrat, and I've never been so proud to be a Democrat. And I don't have to tell you how much elections matter. Imagine if we were saying President Hillary Clinton today, what a different world it would be. In November, we'll be saying President Joe Biden, and what a different world it will be. And I've been proud to be your governor, because the federal government was a little slow, shall we say, in taking the scope of the pandemic seriously. The governors weren't. And I'm just so proud of the people of Connecticut coming together and working as one to help us get through this. And we have a little bit more work to do. And I was just thinking this morning about what we've learned from this pandemic and how we'll be better for it. I'm a glass half full type of guy. And I'm not sure the Democrats had to learn this, but I think Connecticut and the country had to learn a lot. You know, I first was elected with Susan, and one of the first things we took on were minimum wage, and everybody's talking about minimum wage workers in this sort of dismissive tone. Well, now we call them essential workers. And now we remember that it's the nurses and it's the food service workers and the folks in correction. You know, these folks are on the front line every day, you know, what they're doing for us. How about janitors? They don't just keep things neat and clean. They keep it safe and make sure we realize what disinfection means. I think there's a whole new meaning to that group that's taking the lead and keeping us safe. And I love the word essential worker. I'm glad of the fact that they got a raise thanks to each and every one of you. And we're going to do more in terms of combat pay. You know, we didn't have to learn a lot about paid family and medical leave. We took the lead on that as Democrats, you know, by ourselves, I might add, on that vote. And now we realize how important it was during this pandemic that if people are feeling sick and they're not right to go to work, they ought to be able to stay home and stay home safely and not have to take a lot of risk in terms of income. That's what our bill did. It didn't come in time for this pandemic. And actually, that's even what the federal government has stepped up with. And I think we've learned going forward what a difference this can make in terms of people's lives. You know, we talked a lot about healthcare and healthcare disparities. I think a lot of people now realize, looking through the lens of this pandemic, you know, the incredible racial disparities. You know, you're twice as likely to get infected, twice as likely to suffer severe complications if you're African American than if you're white. You know, if you're Hispanic than if you're white. And I think these are the type of things that are hopefully going to remind people that we're in this together. You know, the environment. You know, people are a little dismissive of the environment and its polar bears and icebergs and rising tide. Well, not on my watch. You kidding? Look what the environment has done. Look what global warming has done. Now this pandemic is a direct reminder what a small world we live in, and the fact that these environmental changes could accelerate how fast a virus translates back and forth. And I think we're going to be ready for it. You know, people are a little dismissive of state employees and what do they do and leave me alone, give me liberty or give me death. Well, I think in a crisis like we have right now, people realize how vital good government is, how vital the good work of our state employees. You know, look at public health, look at social services, look at the folks who are taking the lead every day to keep us safe. And while I'm urging everybody, if you can, to stay safe, stay at home, there are a lot of folks, state employees in particular, who are taking the lead, municipal employees, firemen, cops, who can't stay home or they're on the front line. And I urge you to look them in the eye and thank them for what they're doing. And I hope it gives people a new appreciation of what we try and do in government every day as we try and make a difference. And I feel like every day we are making a difference and people now realize the importance of a good state government. You know, before the pandemic, homeless and undocumented, and they're not like the other, no more. You know, I think now more than ever, we realize we are all in this together. It's no more dog eat dog, you're on your own, brother. No, it is we are brother and sister in this together. And if that poor person who got into bad luck, we take care of them. We make sure they have health care. We make sure that they can get a free test. We make sure that if as needed, we're providing food. And thousands of volunteers are helping out at Rensselaer Park and other places, making sure that we remember that we are all in this together. And I don't think Democrats had to be reminded of this by this terrible COVID crisis, but I think it was a good reminder for everybody. And that's why I am so proud to be a Democrat, so proud to be here with each and every one of you. You're the ones that make a difference. You're the ones that know how important it is who you send to higher office. And We're going to get through this by working together, and I think we're going to be better for it. And I know we're better for it because of the strength and power of the Democratic Party, what each and every one of you represent. Thank you all. God bless you. Back to you, Nancy.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you so much for your leadership. We could not be where we are today in our state without it, and we do appreciate it. Now I'd like to introduce someone else who has been making sure that every resident of Connecticut is counted in the 2020 census. Our Lieutenant Governor, Susan Bisowitz, has been a dedicated worker to serving the state for decades. So please, let's all welcome our Lieutenant Governor, Susan Bisowitz. Good morning, Susan, or afternoon, Susan.
To know that I'm really looking forward to the day when we can all be together again in person. It is my profound pleasure to address you today. First, I want to take a moment to acknowledge our very brave nurses and medical personnel, our first responders and service workers, our farmers and grocery store clerks, our postal workers and our delivery drivers, and our frontline state employees. They wake up every day and do a job in service of others and have redefined how Americans think of essential workers. They are the best of us, and I really just wanted to say thank you, and that we all express our gratitude and hope we do that in both words and deeds. Let me also thank our teachers who have done such amazing work in the face of difficult circumstances. My fellow Democrats, let me also thank our great governor, Ned Lamont. Now more than ever, we are seeing the importance of smart, competent, and compassionate leadership. We are witnessing firsthand that those actions in a time of crisis means for people's health, safety, and lives. Our governor's leadership stands in stark contrast to the feckless, reckless, and woefully inadequate response from our White House. Governor Lamont and our great team have brought to bear the full resources of state government and creative solutions to save lives and livelihoods. While we've made significant progress in this fight, we still have miles to go. There will be difficult and painful days ahead, and I've been so grateful to have been asked by Governor Lamont to take a leading role in coordinating our long-term recovery committees at the local level, and also to make sure that no person in our state goes hungry. We should all be so proud of our governor, our team, that we are Democrats, and that we are the party who cares about people's lives and making them better. Honest, competent leadership matters more than ever. It's important in our political parties, in our state house, and in the White House. That's why I'm so pleased that Nancy DiNardo and John Olson are running for another term as our representatives to the DNC. They are proven leaders who have done so much for our party and our state. Their deep wells of knowledge, experience, and their values make them the right choice to represent Connecticut. There are just 170 days until the election. It is by far the most important of our lifetime, and it is up to all of us to make sure that we elect Joe Biden president of the United States. We need to make sure that we return John Larson, Joe Courtney, Rosa DeLauro, Jim Himes, and Johanna Hayes to the United States Congress. And while we're at it, let's also grow our majorities in the state Senate and state House of Representatives. The stakes of this election are too high. The health and well-being of our nation is on the line. We can't risk another 4 disastrous years of Donald Trump. And the contrast couldn't be more clear. In Joe Biden, we will have a president who believes in science, believes in climate change, will listen to experts as the CDC rather than peddle false cures and recommend we ingest Lysol. Joe Biden will be a president that will prepare our nation for the challenges ahead and won't pass the buck. At home, President Trump has abused his powers and his policies have divided America. Abroad, Donald Trump has praised dictators and despots, weakened our alliances, and has made our world a more dangerous place. Joe Biden will restore the United States' standing in every corner of the globe. In closing, let me just say how inspiring it's been to witness how Connecticut residents have stood together throughout the pandemic, each one of us counting on the other to do their part. It's going to take the same dedication with this election. Each of us needs to do our part and needs to inspire our fellow Democrats, independents, and Republicans of taste and discernment to do theirs. I'm ready for this fight. I know you are too. Let's win. God bless you, our beautiful state of Connecticut, and our great country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan, very, very much. We appreciate it. Thank you for all the work you're doing. Right now, joining me now is a man who's become a real partner with me ever since we took over the party, and that's our Vice Chairman, Eric Russell. He has been doing such a great job of working with us and caring about what's going on in the state. So he's joining me today and to honor some of our retiring state party leaders. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Nancy. Thank you for the introduction and good afternoon, everyone. This year, 21 Democratic leaders who have worked in towns and cities across the state for years, some of them for decades, are retiring or moving on to serve the party in a different capacity. This afternoon, we want to thank them for their service and put a bit of a spotlight on their efforts.
Thank you to all of you who have served so much. We really do appreciate it. So now what we'd like to do is to announce the results of this morning's voting for the State Central Committee, the Presidential Electors, and for the Democratic National Committee. Thank you to everyone who voted for taking part in this new and very, very different process. Eric, I'm going to turn it over to you first.
Sure. So we are going to start first with the Democratic National Committee, and the winners are Nancy DiNardo and John Olson, coming back to continue to serve the party.
And I'm going to go on to Presidential Electors, and I do apologize if I get your names wrong. Please forgive me. Dana Barcelo Allen, Tony Anastasio, Dominic Boletto.
And we also have Susan Barrett, John Calamaridis, William Smith, and Myrna Watanabe.
Now we're going on to talk about for our State Central Committee. Many of you we've worked with before, and you're a great group of people, and we have some new people. So let me just go first. District 1, Christine Fortunato and Celestino Jimenez Jr., sorry. Second district is Karen Cato and Edwin Garcia. District 3, Mariah Moriarty and Anthony Duarte. District 4, Ellen Sonic, and David Dumaine. District 5, Barbara Gordon and Joe Stafford. District 6, Joanne Angelica Statson and Derek Besakowski.
And to continue with State Central results, District 7, Karen Jarmock and Tom Frenet. District 8, Dana Barcelos Allen and Matt Giaquinto. District 9, Sharon D. Mounds and John Kelly. District 10, Audrey Tyson and Scott Marks. District 11, Jennifer Pope and Alfred Honorado. And District 12, Marty Carlson and Charles Tiernan.
District 13, Lynn Dawson and William Taylor. District 14, Trish Pearson and Thomas McCarthy. District 15, Allison Kane and Ronald Napoli. District 16, Jennifer McCatchy and Thomas McDonough. District 17, Carol Goldberg and Mark Garofalo. District 18, Carla DeGeneres and Nicholas Vigilante.
Continuing to District 19, Tiffany Thiel and Lawrence Goldman. District 20, Betsy Ritter and Tony Atanasio. District 21, Immaculate Khan and Jimmy Tickey. District 22, Mary Markham and Thomas McCarthy. District 23, Maria Valley and Ernest Newton. And District 24, Deborah Gagliatino and Jean Herquez.
District 25, Galen Wells and Edwin Camacho. District 26, Melissa Kane and Tom Dubin. District 27, Lauren Meyer and Josh Fideli. District 28, Michelle Embry Koo and John Branley. District 29, Sherry Langlois and Brian Anderson. District 30, Audrey Blondin and Larry Sweeney.
And to finish up State Central Committee, District 31, Rebecca Martinez and Peter Brizaitis. District 32, Vinita Bala and Paul Vance. District 33, Megan Kehoe Green and Justin Cronholm. District 34, Mary Ellen Crawford and Steve Fontana. District 35, Lisa Thomas and Bill Dolphin. District 36, Elizabeth Crummage and Howard Richmond.
Congratulations to all of today's winners. We really do appreciate everything that you're doing and volunteering for. Before we go today and move forward with what will be the most important election of our times, we are going to hear from a few more people. One of them is my fellow Democrat. I'm so proud to introduce to you the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, the man who will help lead our party to a big victory in November, Chairman Tom Perez.
Hello, Connecticut Democrats. I'm so happy to be talking with you today. Your commitment to making your state and this great country of ours a better place. Your response to this crisis is not only protecting the health and livelihoods of your membership, but also proving the incredible resiliency of American democracy. We live in challenging times, there's no doubt about that. And now more than ever, we need a change in leadership to get our country back on track. The COVID-19 pandemic has laid bare the utter incompetence, inexperience, and ineffectiveness of Donald Trump. His failure to prepare for this crisis and to listen to health experts has cost people their jobs, their savings, and even their lives. With millions of Americans out of work, Trump and the Republicans all over the country need to make sure they're taking care of them, but instead they've downplayed this crisis and denied the realities we face as a nation. Look at those job numbers that came out. Just horrific job numbers, and they only tell a part of the suffering. For Democrats, we have a responsibility and an opportunity to change the direction of our country for the better. And we believe pandemics like this shouldn't bring our democracy to a halt. But our success depends on faithful, dedicated delegates like you. I want to thank your party leadership for making such an effort to ensure that this convention happened. This convention has been more accessible than any convention in the past, and it has provided more direct information to delegates than any convention has before it. And so, when the history books are written, This will be remembered as a shining example of what happens when people who love their country come together to save it, even in the face of the most daunting challenges. To make that a reality, your involvement is critical, and you have an amazing slate of candidates representing our party. In times of turbulence, sound judgment indeed matters, and Governor Lamont has shown exemplary leadership in guiding Connecticut through this pandemic. The governor's management of this crisis is in stark contrast to the Trump administration's abject incompetence. And it should remind us of just how important it is that we elect Democratic governors like Ned Lamont and that we elect Joe Biden this November. I'm also deeply proud of candidates like Jahana Hayes, Jim Himes, and your great members in Congress. I've had the privilege of working very closely with Joe Courtney in the past as well. Thanks to all of these remarkable members like Jahana who were galvanized to run all over the country. And because of that, we were able to flip the House of Representatives in 2018. Representative Hayes has been busy working for District 5 and holding the Trump administration accountable. And in District 4, the DNC has been proud to partner with Jim Himes to leverage volunteer capacity from non-battleground states over to swing states. Congressman Himes, thank you for your leadership. Congressman Himes recruited 200 volunteers in April to support a Wisconsin judicial election. Judge Jill Karofsky's victory over incumbent Judge Daniel Kelly gave Democrats a significant victory in Wisconsin, despite despicable Republican efforts to sabotage the election. This remarkable result is another example of the grassroots enthusiasm for Democrats across the country, and it should terrify Donald Trump and every Republican running for office. Finally, I want to thank your chair, Nancy Wyman, for her extraordinary leadership. Nancy exemplifies what it means to be a dedicated public servant, and I have full confidence that she will lead all of us to victory in 2020. So thank you to all of your delegates for being active participants and for representing your districts. Together, we can win anywhere and everywhere. And remember this, our unity is our greatest strength and Donald Trump's worst nightmare. Thank you so much.
That the president has a lot of nightmares coming up. But right now, we're very blessed, and everybody's been talking about here in Connecticut to have strong representation in Washington, D.C. And today, I have a privilege to introduce somebody who is an old friend of mine and somebody who has been in public service for a very, very long time. He was our former congressman from the 6th district when we had 6 districts. And it's Toby Moffett. And we're going to ask Toby to introduce our wonderful U.S. senators. Hi, Toby. I have a feeling. There we go. Hi, Toby. Yes, you can, Toby. You can go. I can hear you too.
List. Not bad. Markey Warren, pretty good. go to the West Coast, Feinstein and Harris, very good. Merkley and Wyden from Oregon. But Blumenthal and Murphy has some magic to it. I'm not as involved in the U.S. Senate as I once aspired to be. I think those of you over 55 years old will get that joke. But I remain a student of the Senate, and I think we're just very fortunate to have these two. First of all, let me introduce our senior senator. I like to take credit for the line, I think other people do too, that Dick Blumenthal doesn't just go to garage sales, he goes to garage openings. Driving down the road, sees a guy opening his garage, runs over to ask what's going on. He has such a deep connection to his constituents, something I don't think we've ever seen in the state, really, statewide. Think about it. And he's on the national scene, but he is so attentive to our needs back in Connecticut. He, like Chris, who will be introduced shortly, has a number of committee assignments, and he straddles these things. On judiciary, he's trying to hold this criminal enterprise called the Trump administration accountable every single day. On the Commerce Committee, he's maybe the leading advocate for consumer issues, consumer safety, accountability by industry, and also something I've had the good fortune to work with him on, oceans and oceans protection. So, Dick, we love you, man, and come forward and say hello.
Right back at you. We love you too, and your words of praise mean more than I can say. I'm really deeply grateful because you have been a role model for so many of us over so many years. And to Nancy Wyman, my great friend and often traveling companion over the 20 years that I served as Attorney General, thank you for your leadership and your courage. I'm so proud to be representing Connecticut at this moment in our history, such a critical and formative one, and to have Ned Lamont as my governor. The governors have really stepped forward to fill the gap in leadership, and I'm grateful to him for his bravery and grace under pressure. And to all of you who are listening to me, let me speak from the heart and say thank you. Cynthia and I and my family are so grateful to you for your help, your support, your vision, your courage over so many years in so many elections. And this next election will be literally the most important of our lifetime, without any exaggeration. It is at a moment of existential threat to our democracy. It is a Herbert Hoover moment, except Donald Trump is worse than Herbert Hoover. We would be better off if Trump, like Hoover, did nothing. It is an existential challenge for us, and you will be the leadership. You in this party will be at the forefront. You will be the special forces in this fight. Your network, your energy, your relationships, you're pounding the pavement, figuratively, if not literally. And I have been around the state, even in these past weeks, through video conferences, through teleconferences, through individual phone calls, seeing the heartbreak and hardship as you have, the lives lost and the livelihoods threatened, and the courage and resoluteness and resilience of Connecticut's people. I'm so inspired by them, but at the same time, more determined than ever, as I know you are, to make sure that Donald Trump is a one-term president and that Joe Biden is elected to take us forward in these next 4 years, because we face unparalleled challenges. That hardship and heartbreak I have seen multiplied. In fact, just this morning, when I was in Bridgeport at the event giving away masks at Central High School and at Steel Point, seeing people literally grasping for that personal protective equipment, masks that are necessary to protect themselves and others because the federal government has failed to provide it. I've seen the food mobile pantries and lines there, people waiting for food that is essential to their families. Never before have we seen food insecurity and hunger on this scale. Families literally hanging by a thread, struggling to put food on the table, small businesses about to go under, and the kind of hardship that we face demands an effort of unparalleled energy and commitment. And I know every one of you are going to be there with leadership from people like Nancy DiNardo and John Olson to our party. So let me just say, in the meantime, I'm going to continue this fight. And Toby used the key word, accountability. I'm going to be fighting to hold accountable Donald Trump and all of his administration. And I'm going to be fighting to put more money into the hands of those struggling families through another round of payments. $1,200 went nowhere for most families. And we need to make sure they can put food on the table and pay their rent and utilities. I'm going to be fighting for more funds to our small businesses. The PPP program, Paycheck Protection Program, needs to be supplemented by with more flexibility and additional support. Our state and local governments, as you know, are strapped and they need support. Ned Lamont has led with courage, but he needs the kind of support that the federal government owes to him. And our frontline workers need more than just words. The words are great, and they deserve every one of them in praise, but they also ought to be recognized and rewarded financially. That's why I'm going to be fighting for a Heroes Fund that will put more money in their pockets, up to $25,000 in premium pay for every one of those hospital workers, police and fire, and yes, the grocery workers and the folks who are working in the nursing homes, and to make sure they get the personal protective equipment they need by compelling the president, forcing him to use the Defense Production Act, which is a Korean War statute that gives him the power to correct so many of these deficiencies. So the Heroes Fund, the Defense Production Act, and let me say also that we need a sounder means of providing a more reliable source of funding. So with my colleagues, Mark Warner and Doug Jones and Bernie Sanders, I've proposed a payroll security act, which will guarantee that companies will be able to hold together their workforces and assure them up to $90,000 pay from the federal government. These kinds of measures are what we do as Democrats, and they are what we owe this country. You have been there through so many elections, in so many ways, helping so many candidates, and we are on the cusp of making history again together. I look forward to working with you side by side, to traveling the state again when I can, to being with you at those garage openings and every other event where I can be helpful to anyone who is running and anyone who is helping anyone who's going to be on the ticket this fall. And I look forward to winning and celebrating Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. I look forward to winning this November and going on to win again in future elections, side by side with you, fighting as your ally as we become force multipliers for democracy. Thank you so much to every one of you. God bless you, and God bless our great state and country. Thank you.
A reminder, again, of what I was saying about how lucky we are. Back in 2005, I went to the state capitol to visit Roberta Willis, former staffer of mine, and at that time a very prominent state representative from the beautiful northwest corner. And I said, "Who are we running against Nancy Johnson?" And she said, "Chris Murphy." And I said, "Who is Chris Murphy?" How smart I was. And she said, "He's a great state senator," and so forth. Well, she went on to rave about him, but even then, who could have imagined? Chris is, I think, 30 years younger, probably exactly than me. I always give him a little flack because he wasn't involved in my first campaign, and he retorts that he was 3 at the time. So he certainly gets a pass there. But you know, he's really something special. He could be the next Secretary of State. Would not be a bad thing, and it's not far-fetched. He's straddled, as Dick has, with these committees. You know, being a statesman, really, Foreign Relations Committee, but more importantly to Connecticut. Both are important, but he's now an appropriator. Speaking of which, by the way, I hope all of you know that we may be about to have a very big historical first when the next Congress comes around, since Representative Lowy of Westchester County is retiring. Rosa DeLauro will be the next chair of the House Appropriations Committee. So can you imagine? We win the Senate back, which I think is very, very possible. We have Murphy as a senior appropriator, but in the House, we have the appropriations chair. And by the way, she's been in the middle of this whole stimulus and deserves enormous credit for, you know, 24/7, again, holding the administration accountable. But Murphy is again, unique, young, honest, full of integrity, comes to work every day. I know this, with you in mind and with the people of the state in mind. So with that, Chris, please come forward and say hello to the delegates.
Listen, thank you so much, Toby, for helping to introduce Dick and I. You have, of course, been such a fantastic friend to both of us. Yes, I think I was 3 years old when you first ran, but I'm sure that I was a silent supporter of yours, even in my toddler years. And I, frankly, have a poster from that first campaign that you gave me when I was running my first race for the House of Representatives, and I still treasure that iconic Moffett for Congress poster. Listen, thank you to Nancy Wyman for inviting Dick and I to be a part of this today. Boy, we're so lucky that we've got the delegation that we have. We're small, right? We have 2 senators, 5 members of the House, but we work super closely together. We try to be strategic in terms of the issues that we work together on and our division of labor. And I just feel like the luckiest guy in the world to be able to learn every single day from John Larson and Rosa DeLauro and Dick Blumenthal, who frankly I watched as Attorney General teach a state how to speak truth to power over the course of decades. And now I get to serve next to him every day. And then let me just echo his thanks to all of you for the extraordinary things that you're doing, both as political leaders, but as community leaders. Dick and I and the governor have been all around the state, cautiously and judiciously over the course of the last several months, visiting with our first responders and our heroes. And, you know, we give appropriate credit to our medical professionals, but we have to understand how big this umbrella is of individuals who are out there putting their life on the line. Frankly, the school cafeteria workers that I often visit with when I'm visiting school lunch and breakfast distribution programs are doing their job with a passion and a vigor that equals those of doctors and nurses because they believe in serving their kids and making sure that kids have enough to eat. And Dick's right. Ultimately, we need to do more than just herald them with words. We're going to need to ultimately stand up a fund for them that will compensate those frontline workers for the job that they've done during this time. This is the moment that we feared when Donald Trump became president of the United States. We saw him as a curiosity and an object of entertainment on most days. But now we're in the middle of a crisis and we have a president who is failing to lead. Some people critique his response. I think that's the wrong paradigm. The president is simply not responding. He has decided to stand down after his travel ban didn't work and 400,000 people came here from countries that were subject to those restrictions. He gave up and he left the entirety of the response to COVID-19 to states, to municipalities, to hospitals, to school districts. While some conservatives talk about federal funding for states and municipalities being a bailout, the bailout runs the other way. It's the state of Connecticut and our cities and our public health departments and our hospitals that are bailing out the Trump administration. A functional president, a normal president, would have mounted a national response to this crisis. A normal president would have federalized the supply chain for personal protective equipment, would have run a national testing program. A normal president would have set up national social distancing, school closure and business closure criteria. A normal president would have been working with the world to try to beat the virus everywhere, would have joined the international vaccination effort. This president has done none of those things and has left us all to fend for ourselves. Now, I'm proud that Congress, in many ways, has filled that vacuum. And frankly, though we're at a party convention today, we've done it on a bipartisan basis. For most of the last several months, Republicans and Democrats have joined together to pass support for people who are unemployed, for small businesses, for hospitals, for states. But you can now start to feel that bipartisan cooperation coming apart. And the reason that it's coming apart is that the Republican Party, which used to be a party of ideas, right? Ideas like accountability in government, transparency in government, is now a party of only one idea, and that is a hatred of government. Now, there was only one entity that could respond to this crisis. That was government. And so the Republicans, for a period of time, had to shelve that white-hot, intense hatred for government and invest in it. But now they are returning back to their ideological foundation, which today is simply an antithesis to the public sector. And so you are now seeing it become a conservative value to violate public health orders, to refuse to wear masks. You are now going to see many Republicans refuse to invest in state and local governments that are trying to fight the virus. And the consequences of that, Republican idea to hate and destroy government, now infecting our public policy debate in a way that it frankly didn't for the first several months of this crisis, are catastrophic, are lethal, are life-ending for many of the people that we represent. And so I get it that the stakes of every election seem enormous, but there's something different this time around. We have seen the consequences of a Republican Party that has come to believe in only one thing: the destruction of government. We have come to see the consequences of electing someone to office who is wholly unprepared and uninterested in being the chief executive. And so we have a mission right now, which is to save lives and to save this country. And I'm just more grateful than ever to be a member of this party, a member of a party that had the foresight to nominate somebody like Ned Lamont, who has made us all proud, who deserves his record high approval ratings because he has done the right thing day after day. And he's had a team by his side who has helped. But now we need to make sure that we don't take his leadership and the stakes of this election for granted. And so we're going to organize here in Connecticut and across the country to make sure that Joe Biden is our next president and to make sure that Ned Lamont has big majorities in the state Senate and the state House to support the work that he's going to need to do in 2021. Remember, he has emergency powers right now, but those emergency powers won't last into next year. And so it's going to have to be the legislature that delivers the kind of programming necessary to get our economy back up and running and to finish off the fight against this virus. And so let's go out there and do that work. I will tell you, I have seen that the public is ready to jump into the political fight. I know that for many of us, we sort of thought that this wasn't a moment to talk about politics or to engage in campaigns. And I think that instinct is right. But I have been raising money online for Senate races all across the country. Some of you may, in fact, have been contributors to these efforts. I've joined up with two of my friends, Senator Cory Booker and Senator Brian Schatz. And just last week, through a handful of tweets, we raised $200,000 for a candidate in Iowa. And it shows you that people understand that the fight against this virus, yes, first and foremost, is about supporting public health institutions, complying with public health orders. But it's also about making sure that we get rid of Donald Trump and that we put into office somebody like Joe Biden who can effectively manage this response, and that we seed local and state government with the kind of leaders that are going to understand that while government can't solve every problem in this country, there are certain unique challenges that can only be met by an effective public health response. And it needs to be the party that believes in the efficacy of government in the right places and the right moments that wins this election and leads us out of this crisis. So let me thank all the delegates on this call for all of the work that you do to support the Democratic Party. It's a moment now where we have to think in an innovative way about how to win elections, but we need to put in that effort. And lastly, just let me say how grateful I am that you've given me the chance to do this job. It wasn't that long ago that I was an intern at the state capitol, that I was a staffer for George Jepsen. I've gotten the chance to see this party and see our government from every stage, starting out as an intern, becoming a staffer, a state representative, now a United States senator. And I'm just in awe of the responsibility that you've given me and the ability that you've given me to be your voice in Washington. So thank you for that. Thank you to our chairwoman, Nancy Wyman, for leading us so effectively. And thanks for having me as part of this event today.
Thank you very, very much. First of all, Toby, thank you so much for being with us today. And our two great senators, Senator Blumenthal and Senator Murphy, for your friendship and your leadership. And now we have a short message from a man that I believe is going to be the next president of the United States, Joe Biden.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I can't be with you first today, but I want to thank you for the hard work to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. I'm running for president to restore the soul of this nation and to rebuild our middle class. And this time, everybody comes along. As our party's presumptive nominee, I stand united with every single Democrat behind our first and most important mission: beat Donald Trump. We have to do more than just beat Donald Trump. We have to keep the House and win the Senate. We have to deliver meaningful change for people that are hurting all across the nation. The stakes in this election have never been higher for our country. We face an unprecedented crisis, a global health crisis, and tens of millions of unemployed Americans. We need real leadership, and we need the truth. Franklin Roosevelt believed, and I quote, "The American people can handle bad news, but you have to give it to them straight," end of quote. As president, I'll listen to the scientists. I'll be honest and straightforward about the challenges we face, but also how we can come together and overcome those challenges. And I'll put working families and small businesses first, ensuring that all our economic relief goes to them first to help them. When we come out of this crisis, we'll transform our country to achieve real and lasting change to address inequity. If we stand together, we'll win the battle for the soul of this nation. We need to do this. We can do this.
To make sure that he becomes president. I just want to say a few things as we wind up. I do want to thank our congressional people and personally, of course, John Larson and Joe Courtney and Rosa DeLauro, Jim Hines, and Johanna Hayes. They've got a hard job ahead, and they've done a great job. And of course, their convention is Monday. Hope you get out there and vote, and so we can send them back there. I also want to take a moment to thank the elected officials that are in our state house and state senate here in Connecticut. They work there every day as hard as they possibly can to making sure that things get done. We have to make sure they get elected. And I know everybody has said that this is the most important election in our lives. And we hear that over and over. But I'm not on the ballot this year. And I believe it even more so, that it is more important that this ballot goes straight across Democratic, not only in our state, but in our country. It is time to relieve this president of anything to do with any state or for any individual. So let me just say that as we're winding down right now, I'm going to use my gavel to declare that this 2020 Democratic State Convention is now closed. Bye, everybody. God bless. Be well and stay safe. I'm a Connecticut Democrat. I believe in a world founded on the freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear.
I am a Connecticut Democrat. I stand on the front lines to fight injustice and demand change.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat. I dare to dream of exploring new worlds, climbing new mountaintops, and shattering every ceiling, not because it's easy, but because it is hard.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat. I believe women's rights are human rights, and women's issues are economic issues.
Love is love, and hate has no home in Connecticut.
I believe science is real, and we need to address climate change before it's too late.
We are Connecticut Democrats.
We were at the forefront of the fight to pass marriage equality.
And led the charge to ban conversion therapy. We are Connecticut Democrats.
We are the steady hand defending our democracy and guiding America towards a brighter future for all.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat.
I am a Connecticut Democrat.
I'm a Connecticut Democrat.
We are Connecticut Democrats.